Boom! Look at there. There I am. Sorry, just knocking stuff over. Hey, wait, I can take this graphic off. Okay, there we are. Woo! It's a little different setup today, huh? Of course, in the chat, please let me know. You're my eyes and ears. I hope that you can hear me. It looks as though you can see me. Hope the connection's good. We're taking a field trip today for the live stream. The Thursday deep dive. I don't know how deep we're going to get on some of this stuff, but we'll try. Let me get the audio space started here. Let's see here. I always get to this screen. Do you want to invite people? I mean, no offense. Y'all all seem awesome. But I don't know why it always goes to that screen where it asks me, do you want to invite people? Of course, if it didn't, and I wanted to invite someone, then I'd be pissed. And I'd say, why doesn't it just go to the screen? I'm talking about the audio space, by the way, which is available today in addition to the video stream. So they're both here on X in the feed there. So the main purpose, because I haven't done a Drinks with Keith in a long time. It's a very casual situation where we just sit around and we talk almost like old-timey AM talk radio. The era that I grew up in. Boy, the lighting's great in here. Am I right? Look at that, huh? Let's try to open a window. There we go. A little curtain. There we go. Okay. Oof. I don't need these yet. You doing all right? Sorry. Do let me know, though, on the audio stream and on the video stream, if there's any technical issues that I need to be made aware of. Okay, let's see here. Show comment. Okay. All right. Somebody do me a test comment just to make sure everything's working. Because I'm so nervous when I first of all, I'm nervous to begin with. And then when I pack up and go to a different location, then even more so. It appears, based on the lighting situation in this location, that I have jaundice. I'm just going to go and say that right now. It appears I'm dying, which, who knows? Okay. Hi, Jeffy Apologist. Thank you for chiming in. Okay, so I know the chat works today. Yes, awesome. A couple people tuned in over here on the audio stream. Now, if I move the phone closer to the microphone, which I'll need to do if someone wants to talk, please let me know. I think this phone doesn't send the little electronic interference. This is the naughty one right here. Okay. Someone, I believe, recently called this program amateurish, which that's awesome. That's a badge of honor. I prefer to call this authentic, but amateurish works as well. Thank you to I just pointed out Jeffy Apologist, Gabby, who runs the Instagram page at the Mike Show. If you want to follow there, she's always keeping it busy. And Hero Wes, always keeping the stuff posted. All of the links there at themikeshow.com, where he links to YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iTunes, you name it. It's all available. I will say that if you prefer to watch on X, well, obviously you're here right now. But if you prefer to watch on X, all the stuff's pinned at the top there. And of course, we have the audio space option today. And the reason we have the audio space option today is I want you to chime in because I posted a link yesterday. What are some stories we need to be covering more that aren't getting enough traction? What is something you want to talk about? And if you hear a story that you want to chime in on and make your voice be heard, something that isn't being talked about enough in your view, this is the time to do it. Because there's a lot of stuff in the stack. I'm looking for which stack. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks. This is the stack I'm referring to right now. I got a lot of stuff here that, yes, it's very interesting, and yes, it needs to be talked about. But you're going to have to educate me. It's tough. There's only so much bandwidth in our brains, okay? And so I might recognize a story and just haven't... Sorry, if you came here to talk to an expert in something, you're in the wrong channel. Wait, hold on. No, unless it's Calvin Coolidge. We can handle that assignment. Let's see. Last week, if you missed the deep dive, oh my goodness, go back and watch that. Not now, but preferably at some point. Colonel Roxanne Towner Watkins was my guest, and we talked about Operation Gladio. That's pinned to the top there. And we will do part 2 with her coming up on July 24th. I had hoped to be able to confirm a guest. Let me just check. Let me just see if there's any breaking news in my inbox. Just checking. Nope. Okay. got some fun shows. I just don't know the exact day, so I want to start promoting them, jinx it, all that stuff. There is no deep dive next week. So tomorrow we'll do the Friday live stream. Rebecca and Brad will be here. But the 3rd and the 4th of July, that Thursday, Friday, no shows. I mean, there's a chance I could pop in and do a drinks with Keith. I just don't want to promise that. So that's funny. Hold on, look at this. Hippopotamic landmass. I'm just trying to understand. And I see you're both on the video stream and the audio stream. So bless you. Everybody should do that. Everybody should, just for the fun of it, open up you'd have to go to another device. Anyhow, just don't forget, we do have the audio stream, which is, I don't know, is it north or south of this one? It came on, so it should be north, right? I think so. So I'll just leave that as is. If you want to go up there. In fact, nope, let me retweet this and I'll put it below. Okay. All right. So now the audio space is below. If you want to go and talk over there about some topic, please feel free to. Let me just see if I need to. No. Let's see what else we got here. Hang on. Sorry. See, the problem is, okay, I've noticed something about me. Well, first of all, I'm getting more and more lazy the older I get. Or you tell me, is this lazy? What the hell's my Sharpie? Where the hell my phone and where the hell my Sharpie? Dang it. So I've been doing S's a different way, writing the letter S in the most strange way. And I own it. I want to show you. I want to demonstrate. But I've misplaced my Sharpie because, as we've been over many times before, I'm the least organized person I know. I found one. I found it. Here we go. This is how I'm doing S's these days. Hang on. I'll get some blank paper here. See, a normal person would write an S like this. Huh? Tune in for a deep dive. You didn't know you were going to get an English lesson today, did you? For some reason, here lately, like if I were to say, you, talking about you, yeah, you are a badass, okay, right? I'm starting to do it like this. Starting to do it, I don't know, starting from the left to the southwest to northeast. For 49 plus years, I was just kind of normal, right? At least with my S's. Don't write SS too much, man. I could just see it right now. Look at this Nazi. Look at him, just in the open, praising the SS. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. You know what? At least you're honest, Julie. You love smelling a Sharpie. I know somebody who cannot open a Sharpie. No, they don't live here. Cannot open a Sharpie without taking a big whiff of it. All the time. It's something to behold. But I mean, look, just to each their own. And Julie is being honest. What did I want to? Oh, you know what I need to do? We have got to talk about this. See, this is what sucks. When you don't take the time to properly learn something, when the news breaks and you have to apply that knowledge, and it's rudimentary knowledge, and you didn't take 5 seconds before this day, this moment in time, then you end up looking like a dumbass. So here I am. It's a meteorite. Isn't that right? Is that because once it comes to the atmosphere, is that right? It's an asteroid out there. It's a meteorite down here. Don't point down there, Keith. It's a right? Once it gets in the atmosphere, see, I should have paid attention in school. Because then when this on the fly moment comes up, that's when, and I'm sorry if you're on the audio stream. I'm sorry you can't see this. But let me get some of these videos going here. Are you going to look off to the, you can see the mousey, the cursor. I haven't even started drinking. I can't say cursor. Watch this quadrant of the video, and you will see, you'll see Arnold Schwarzenegger landing on Earth. Oh, no, there it is. Look at that. Holy crap. Look at that, huh? So this is throughout the Southeast. Primarily, I think the reports are coming in from Atlanta, my neck of the woods. Let's see here. That wasn't the video. Let's see. Let me get this one going here. Hang on. Because I've got multiple. I've heard South Carolina. I've heard predominantly Metro Atlanta. I've heard the North Carolina, Virginia border. We might be there could be an invasion happening right now, and I'm just sitting here drinking vodka, which is honestly, I mean, that's the way to do it. If the aliens aren't looking at, there we go. See that one? There it is. This looks like I-75 or 575. This is my old stomping grounds right here, up in Cobb County, Georgia, northwest of Atlanta. All right, so that's one video. There was another one here. Let's see. So you could be right now. You might be battling an alien, and this is just left on in the background. This is what's happening. Look at that, straight down the middle. This guy's got a glare on his windshield. Try not to be distracted. Right down the middle, though. I mean, this it looks exactly like where I grew up. All these videos. So I think all of these are from Metro Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. So there we go. We could be under attack. Like I said, I have no idea. I just hope that the aliens don't bother me until I'm done with the live stream, because that would be rude, and that would not be. You're not getting off on the right foot with a new relationship if you interrupt a live stream. See, look at it. It showed up on the radar. I think this is Virginia, and then this is North Carolina. So here's the border, and they're saying that's the deal right there. There's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's looking for John Connor. So if you know John Connor, you're both simultaneously in the safest place you could be and the most dangerous, because the bad Terminator obviously is looking, but you'll have Schwarzenegger. And it's not even Schwarzenegger in his prime at this point. So, hey, look at it. There's over Metro Atlanta. Just boom. That's also the Atlanta Falcons imploding in the fourth quarter, I think, is where that imagery is. Okay. All right. So I'd love to hear from people that have seen it, because I want to know where you are exactly. Like, I want your address, and I want to know what you're wearing. But mostly I just want to know what's the story on the, if you saw the is it Meteorite Niner? Okay, so there you go. And like I said, I posted the tweet yesterday about the oh, hang on a second. Hang on. Let me see these questions here. So Steven says he's in Virginia. Did you see the ball of light about an hour or so ago in the sky? Yeah, well, thank you, Julie. The aliens are here, and you're spending your last minutes. That is so kind of you to think of it. All right, so you're up in the Northwest, Angel. Okay. Inland Northwest. See, I bet you are saying that because you don't want people to think that you're in one of them hell cities, Portland or Seattle. So you want to make it clear, I'm in the same part of the Pacific Northwest. I think that's what you're low-key doing there, Angel. But let's see here. Just looking to see if I've missed anybody that maybe saw when did this happen? Today, about an hour ago, Karen, hour or two. That's where the videos are popping up on social media. Let's see here. Okay, just trying to catch up to y'all. Let's see here. And I think the original premise of today's show was going to be like, I don't know, there's a new thing on last Friday's live stream. And I don't think it's always going to happen this way, where there's a story in the news that it feels like there could be something bigger there. And I am not letting go of the Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Horton, her house being broken into after the crime scene was marked off and boarded up, and somebody broke in. Family says doesn't look like anything's missing. I'm not alleging anything other than that's really weird. And it's probably nothing, right? Just saying. Well, let's see. Oh, yeah. The big, beautiful bill. You're talking about how it's getting gutted in the Senate. It sure is. It sure is. I don't know. Are we going to get the July 4th deadline that Trump wants? That's coming up on Friday. So it's a week from tomorrow. He wanted this thing passed. He wanted to be able to sign it. Interesting. Very interesting. Y'all commented about that under that link. Somebody mentioned that Alberta seriously wants to become the 51st state. Let's go. That's the common sense corner of Canada. Alberta. Look, I'm already an Oilers fan, so that would work. Let's see here. Yeah, so Cheryl said Alberta is seriously thinking of defecting from Canada, becoming our 51st state, more than ever before. I've heard. So, do you live up there, Cheryl? I would love to know if any of you guys are tuned in from Alberta. If you can speak to this personally, boots on the ground. I would love to hear from you. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. It was a little bit hairy trying to get back up here to go live at the top of the hour because I went out to get the mail, and this is an origin story that maybe you haven't heard of, but that big lump on old man Tanner the dog, he's got that thing there, and it's been tested. It's not cancer. Thank you for your concern. It just causes him to do this, and they said, it could cause more damage than just to leave it alone if they took it out. It's a long story. I'm not going to bore you with all the conversations we've had with vets. But the way he got that was back when a UPS truck was driving by at a slow speed. Probably 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. And out in the yard, Carrie and Zelie were out in the yard, and he thought he needed to step in and protect them from the slow-moving UPS truck. And so he ran at apparently full speed and bounced off of it with a little yelp. And it was so out of character for him to just sprint out of the yard like that. But he wasn't playing games with the old UPS truck that day. And he has this. Does your dog have this irrational, unmanageable reaction to something? Like for Tanner, it's a UPS truck. It's not the FedEx truck. It's not the garbage truck. He barks at them, but he doesn't chase them. UPS truck. We've seen this manifest multiple times in the last 6 or 7 years. And it started that day when he just had to attack this truck. And then it's got that ever-growing lump ever since. So just before I came up here to start the show, I went out to check the mail, and simultaneously, UPS truck going by slow speed, old man dog does a full-on sprint. And he jumps in a way, and he's not anywhere near the truck at this point, I want to make clear. But he's like, I didn't know he could still jump like that. Like, he would have killed the truck. Sorry. The truck is 1, Tanner is 0. But today, I feel like Tanner could have evened the score if I hadn't have yelled at him and told him to stop. And it was embarrassing for him, honestly, because then he falls down. It's not just my dogs, right, that have this irrational, like for Matilda, her unreasonable, and maybe it's not unreasonable, guttural reaction to something is Brad Staggs, who of course will be on tomorrow's Friday live stream because he doesn't have to come here because she would not allow that. Isn't that right, Matilda? She's around here somewhere. Okay. One of the stories that was posted underneath my request yesterday was from Steve Friend, former FBI agent, one of the discarded whistleblowers by your federal government, both Democrats and Republicans. It's absolutely shameful. There are no other words at this point. It is shameful that good people like Steve Friend, Garrett O'Boyle, it goes on and on. There's half a dozen at least that I'm constantly or I'm trying to keep attention on these good people, these honorable people who came forward to tell us how crappy our government was and now have just been left to the wind, completely discarded, not brought back. They need to be reinstated. They need to be promoted. They need to be given back pay. Hell, they need medals. They need the Medal of Freedom. But for whatever reason, we're about 6 months into this presidency, and we got a brand new and improved FBI who are doing jack shit for the honorable people that came forward to point out the malfeasance within our own government. And I am not happy about this. I cannot imagine living the nightmares that because everything, it's not just, hey, they came forward and now the government is just throwing them to the wind here and don't care about them. It affects everything. It's their ability to take care of their families, and it trickles down. I don't want to get hung up talking about. I would love to talk at some point in the future more in depth with some of the whistleblowers and their stories, and I'll just leave it there for now. But I'm not letting this go. I hope you won't let this go. But just know that there are good people that are being abused, that have been abused, and continue to get abused by our government. And we should not stay silent. I don't care who the hell is running the levers. I don't care if it's our guy or somebody else. But I was more excited than probably Kennedy at HHS and then Kash Patel at FBI, which, by the way, we've got to spend some time on Kennedy yesterday. This guy never wearing a wearable. Not for myself, and sure as hell not for the government. So we'll get to that, I hope. But I have asked Steve Friend to come here because he posted a story, and I want to make sure that I communicate this properly. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to put you on the spot. I just want you to just enjoy. Would you just tune in? And I want to have you speak to this. You're going to have to talk in the comments to make sure that the audio is high enough. Because remember, I haven't done this in a long time, one of these live streams with the audio stream. So if you can't hear Steve's comments, please make that clear. Don't suffer in silence. Here he is, my friend, Mr. Steve Friend, former FBI agent, honorable whistleblower who saw what was going on after January 6th and spoke up. And he is joining me right now because he posted a story. There we go. Okay, cool. Don't forget, when I do go to you, you need to unmute your microphone. I'm sure Steve Friend knows this. Isn't that right, buddy?
I am a content creator, fantasy camp attendee. I'm good to go.
Wait, hold on. Now we need a deep dive on the fantasy camp. Do you play fantasy football at all?
No, I've got small children, so I don't watch anything other than Pop Warner.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair enough. That'll keep you busy. Okay. So you posted under this link, and hopefully everybody can hear you loud and clear. I will make any adjustments that I need to. This story, it said the headline is FBI emails revealed to the Post, New York Post, exposed Joe Biden's DOJ's obsession with piling on the Trump charges. Did I print that up correctly? Yes. Okay. Do I have this right? Is that the right story? I printed up so many things, Steve. That's the one you posted, right?
Yeah. This is the Miranda Devine story that should be getting a lot more traction just because it indicts more people and elevates more names that should be brought forward, people that should be on the list of need to be held accountable, not just named and shamed, but prosecuted for conspiracies against rights.
Okay. So one thing that you've been pointing out is it I want you to just tell me, you talk about this story, and then let me jump in with my follow-up questions. But why, tell us why this is so important, and why, here's another thing that if we don't pay attention to and hold these elected officials' feet to the fire, it's another thing that's just going to fade away.
It all goes back to a fundamental philosophical question that we've lost focus on, or at least we've gone in the wrong direction on, and that is, why do we have laws? Pretty simple. And there's really two answers you can come up with. Do we have laws so that we can treat the law as a shield to protect the innocent from fraud and force, which is the mandate of government, and is to ensure a safe society, a just society where evildoers are punished for doing wrong? Or do we have laws so that the government can use it not as a shield, but as a sword to go after people? And depending on who's in power, they can use that to go after their perceived political enemies and say, well, look, what you're doing is kind of getting close to the line, and I can have a novel interpretation of that line and draw that line now behind you. And look, you alluded to fantasy football. If you get 2 feet down, that's a catch. That's called legal, in bounds. But instead, what we saw, and really gets highlighted really well in this case, and as was highlighted by the DOJ's entire treatment of Donald Trump for the last several years under the Joe Biden administration, was that they had their man and they were going to look for a crime. So this was Miranda, who's a friend of mine, brought out more about how this DOJ attorney, name is J.P. Cooney, was sending an email out to like 8 or 9 different people within the Department of Justice and the FBI because they were looking at song that the J6ers were singing. They're trying to do a fundraiser, and that was the national anthem.
Trying to do a fundraiser, you said.
Yes, it was a fundraiser, and the details of who was going to receive the funding, from what I understand, were people who were non-violence defendants from January 6th. So it was these January 6th guys who were indefinitely held in custody in the gulag in Washington, D.C., sing the national anthem. And then Donald Trump agreed to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and they spliced that in between to make this song and tried to put it out there as something that people could download and purchase. And then all the funds were going to go to support the nonviolent offenders who sought it. And it was reported in Forbes. So our guy here, our attorney, J.P. Cooney, must have seen the article in Forbes. And he sends out this email, which is all public record because this is a government lawyer doing business on a government network and sending an email on a government network. And he said, can we do some work to nail down Trump's role in this?
Oh, my gosh.
And he was also trying to go after Ed Henry and Kash Patel as potentially co-conspirators here because they wanted to go have extra charges for some sort of financial crime.
Yeah, and this was a topic during Kash's confirmation hearing, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and it brings in the same cast of characters as always. So this J.P. Cooney, he was deputy special counsel for Mueller and for Jack Smith. So that's who you're playing with here. And he brings in one of the people he actually emails is an FBI agent whose name is Walter Giardina. Now, Giardina was on the team that went after Peter Navarro, arrested him at the airport, put him in leg irons, and wound up putting him in prison for 4 months. And he was also part of the Steele dossier investigation. And when he was working with Mueller, he wiped his laptop. That was a government laptop so that it could not be recorded or preserved. So destroyed evidence. So this was the circle of people who were within the circle of trust, who were just had their man, going to try to find the crime, and then beyond that, expand the network out to go after as many potential people as we have, and bastardizing our justice system. And it's nothing to do with who the person is. It's just the fact that we have individuals within our government who are supposed to be neutral arbiters of the law, but instead use the law as the sword to go after people and see if they can have a novel interpretation. We have our guy. Let's go back through the code book, which is another element, that's separate from this. But this is what I heard for January 6th. I mean, there was a task force in Washington, D.C. who would have a subject, and they'd say, well, we think we have XYZ charge, but we're going to go back through the legal code book and see if we can dig up some more. That's using the law as a sword. And I think that this is one of the most revelatory ones recently. And I'm glad that we have some transparency, but at the same time, this happened in 2023, and there's no statute of limitations here issue because, we're well within a 5-year conspiracy against rights, color of law violation.
Right.
I need to see these people indicted and tried, convicted, and sentenced, and then frog marched in orange jumpsuits to the end of an L-shaped hallway on their way to solitary confinement. If we're going to actually save our infrastructure, be it the DOJ and the FBI.
Okay, let's pause that for just a second because I want to bring up statute of limitations on something else here in a moment. And I want to get your thoughts on that. But before I do, I want to point out a couple of comments that have come through here, because when I was going to bring one up from DeGarebear, and then you really set the stage for it, because you talked about, look, if these are the good guys, or these are the people that are supposed to enforce the laws and keep our republic going, that was funny, Keith. Then if this is the good guys, then we're totally screwed. So along that same line, DeGarebear posts this legit question: Congress has exempted themselves from IRS audits. I didn't know that. Wait a minute. The COVID vax and legalized insider trading and bribery we call lobbying. Yeah. What chance do we have to hold anyone accountable? Steve, do you want to address that, especially as someone who has a unique perspective on this? Because not only, see, we're all coming to this as pissed off taxpayers and pissed off that the people that we thought were going to bring good change to our government, we're pissed off enough. I can't imagine somebody like you in your position, an honorable man who did the right thing, spoke out where he saw, I was going to just say malfeasance. I just call it evil, actually. And here for now, you've been over 1,000 days since you came forward. Your government has turned its back on you. How do you feel about the state of things in our country and this new administration? Have you lost all hope, or are you still keeping a flicker going?
I take a healthy dose of black pills for the most part, but I also I'm of two minds. Now, look, I full disclosure to anybody and everybody, this is not going to be breaking news to anyone. There's been 3 presidential elections in which Donald Trump has been a candidate, and I only voted for him one time, and that was in 2024. So in 2024, I voted for him, and I made a decision. It was a first time I'd voted for president in a strictly transactional basis. I wanted one thing very much, and the second thing, if I didn't get it, then I would be disappointed, but it wasn't a deal breaker. The number one thing, I said, everything else, it just, it's a grab bag, take what you can get, was I wanted a pardon for Steve Baker. And I got that on day one. So I can't, in good faith, stick to my principles as what my vote and hope were for the incoming administration, and say, well, I regret my vote. Now, that being said, I can disagree with policy decisions and what's going on. And the second thing was I really, really wanted to see people who were part of the system that did myself and so many of these other guys, and there's about a dozen of us, so wrong, held accountable for that. Now, that didn't include me getting a job back or anything. I made my peace with that a long time ago. Now, I do hope that the boot comes off my neck a little bit, and maybe I can get hired to go work at a car wash or something like that, which I'm struggling to do. But as far as having a level of disappointment, it's a pretty bad betrayal from the elected officials' standpoint. The guys, we're alluding to, who gave themselves the ability to do insider trading, the people who looked me in the eye, and their staffers were on the phone with me and exploited me and others like me, other guys that came forward in good faith with reasonable concerns for the right reason, not for political reasons, because we had a reasonable concern that things were bad, and we wanted those corrected, and then we would just go back to work. And that was really what the overall goal would be, but we faced retaliation. They saw us as an opportunity to fundraise, which is what they did. They saw us as an opportunity to reap the political whirlwinds, which they did, and began in 2022. And then as an opportunity to get themselves a higher profile and have some government hearings, which I did, May of 2023, and then I was a spent force and never heard from them ever again.
Oh my gosh, that phrase right there, just like a knife. You're a spent force. We have no use for you now. Okay, first of all, if you had to describe what part of Florida you lived in, how would you explain it? Because if someone in your area is in a position to hire a good man, I hope they'll reach out to you. Hopefully your DMs are open. But
thank you. Yeah, DM's open. Daytona Beach is where I live.
Okay.
But we have a pretty big racetrack here, so I think most people know where that.
It's the one NASCAR race a year that I make myself watch because I enjoy. It's like the Masters. I don't know. For golf, it's the Masters. For NASCAR, it's Daytona. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's the marketing or what. I think for Augusta, because I grew up in Georgia. But for whatever reason, I actually watch those events. You're the master of the
my family was the photograph family 2 years ago for the Daytona 500 that NASCAR used for the full year.
Wait, on promotional materials or something? Or?
Yes, I'll have to send you the photos.
Yes, that's cool, man. So, but you're the master of the segue, whether you're doing this intentionally or not. I have a comment here from Jonathan, because Jonathan basically read my mind. Or here, let me back up. Steve Friend co-hosts a show called The American Radicals. It's a podcast you can find on Rumble, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere. The American Radicals podcast. And I was going to suggest, when we were talking about the jobs, I was like, man, I'd love to have you work with me over at the Blaze. But then Jonathan actually took it to a whole nother level. This actually is genius, Jonathan, because he posts this at the same time you're saying you wanted to see a pardon for Steve Baker. Steve Baker, a co-worker of mine over at the Blaze, who does great investigative journalism. He's been on top of all of this stuff, whistleblower related. But Jonathan says, since Steve needs a job, how about the Blaze or a wealthy audio? I misread this, Jonathan. Well, still, it's a great idea. Let me tell you what my idea was after just glancing at your comment. But it says, since Steve needs a job, how about the Blaze or a wealthy audience member hire Steve to hunt the people he's talking about? Well, what I was thinking is, it needs to be Steve squared. It needs to be Steve Baker and Steve Friend doing a show together or something. I think you guys would root out so much crap from our government working together as a team. Steve Baker and Steve Friend. So that's just my 2 cents. That's what I selfishly would like to see. But you mentioned something on statute of limitations. Could you address why this Chinese interference with our 2020 election, with the ballots inserted in the system? And by the way, again, pinned to the top are all these conversations that I've had with Jovan Pulitzer on how the 2020 election was stolen, period. And I think the very first conversation we had, the election fraud episode, I think it's July 4th, 2024, as a matter of fact, pinned up there, focused on Arizona specifically. So when that guy, Stanton, Representative Stanton, was going after Carrie Lake yesterday and calling that a lie, I knew it was not. And boy, her response was epic. One of the top 10 congressional hearing responses ever. But I'm getting off the track here because you got the ADD working. Explain why the Chinese ballot infiltration and the IDs, all that stuff, why that in 2020 that Kash Patel talked about a couple of weeks ago, why that's going to die on the vine probably.
Well, statute of limitations is the length you can go back for a crime in order to charge it. Basically, if you commit a crime, the philosophy is like you shouldn't be looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. And after a while, you get the grace, all the oxen-free. For the most part, most federal crimes, the statute of limitations is 5 years. So we're in the summer now of 2025, and as was revealed by these documents that were turned over to Chuck Grassley's office, this was in the summer of 2020. So any sort of criminal proceeding would have to be happening within the next 6 to 8 weeks at most. And all we know for now is that there was an IIR, which is an intelligence report, and that was generated that said that the Chinese government was going to send fake IDs, fake driver's licenses to the Midwest, to battleground state, to create fake mail-in ballots for Joe Biden. And that Customs and Border Patrol interdicted 19,888 fake IDs that came from China that were going to battleground states of the Midwest. And then the FBI assessed that they wanted to pull the document back. And now the strong conjecture is that they wanted to pull it back because Christopher Wray had testified and perjured himself that there was no intelligence to support that. Meanwhile, the FBI had generated that intelligence. So they pulled it back and obliterated it in what is unequivocally the worst election interference that the FBI engaged in. And that, I say with full knowledge about the Steele dossier and Russiagate and the fake FISAs and the James Comey honeypot that all happened in 2016, and the Hunter Biden laptop censorship that happened, and the 51 spies who lie that the FBI stood by as a member of the intelligence community and saw that and had the laptop in possession and allowed to happen. Because as bad as those were efforts on the part of the FBI to influence an election, to get people to either favor one candidate or disfavor another candidate, or maybe just not even engage in politics because, they're all corrupt. Meanwhile, this latest one was the FBI knew and had intelligence to support that a foreign nation state, a foreign rival with close ties to Joe Biden and his family, was going to attempt to actually stuff ballots into the ballot box. And they stood by and allowed it to happen, and it obliterated that to get the political outcome that they wanted, and to run cover for the director of the FBI, who perjured himself, and he had a habit of doing that. So if they don't get him for that, this one, they should get him for another one.
Right. As much as we hear Russian influence, Russian collusion, my gosh, you actually have evidence that there was Chinese influence in our 2020 election, and yet I don't even hear Republicans talking much about that. Why? Help me. Let's just say I'm a naive voter who says, wait a minute, this is a crime that Christopher Wray is guilty of. Why would today's FBI pull back on that? Like, what is the deal with protecting Christopher Wray?
Well, protecting Christopher Wray is a huge concern. And that's, if I'm going to take anything positive out of this, is we can say his name again, because apparently he's like Voldemort. We can't say Christopher Wray's name. We only have to say James Comey, who's so far beyond any statute of limitations that the current DOJ is willing to go after it. Look, if you put me in the DOJ, I'd still go after him. I think there's ways you could do it. But he's a safe person. He's a person that the current members of the FBI can go and tap the deputy director or director on the shoulder and say, it's James Comey's fault. Meanwhile, what we do know is that Christopher Wray not only lied and perjured himself on a plethora of occasions, but it's the things that myself and my buddies all brought forward were all from Christopher Wray's time. The radical traditional Catholic intelligence report, that was Christopher Wray's tenure. All the January 6th abuses, that was Christopher Wray. The moms at school board meetings, threat tag that went out, that was Christopher Wray. The abuse of the FACE Act, all Christopher Wray. And the reason that I think that they're endeavoring to avoid that is because the people that are at the 7th floor of the Hoover building right now in positions of leadership, they're all Christopher Wray acolytes. So they're going to distract the best that they can.
Cool. So is there ever any repairing this government? I already know the answer to that, but I thought I would at least ask it so you could answer.
I think we got our number one draft choice at director and our number one draft choice at deputy director. We can't fault the personnel at this point. And I think you have to take an honest assessment and come to any conclusion that they gave it the old college try, and what we're seeing is not the corrective action that was necessary. And even if there was corrective action, what I can tell you is that the entire agency is populated by people who just followed orders for the most part, or were gleefully engaging in activities that were in contravention to their oath of office and the law and the Constitution. And we know for a fact now that they engaged in election interference to a point where I think should shock the conscience of every American, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum. And you should come to no other conclusion that it is a secret police force that should be shattered into a million pieces and scattered to the wind, because that is the best option. Whoever is the president then can't send the attack dog after you because you happen to have political beliefs that are in opposition to him.
I was in the defund the FBI camp for years, and then I got this injection of hopium, and then I was in the reform the FBI camp, and now I am back squarely, feet quickly drying in cement in the camp of defund the FBI. And yes, that goes for the CIA as well. There's no hope to reform these arms of the federal beast. They are beasts within the beast. And it's so demoralizing when, like you said, you get your guy in who gets your guys in, and then you are all excited. And again, I'm not even coming from the perspective that you're coming from, which is just, I can't even imagine, bro. But it's so depressing to see what lack of real reform and real action. I don't know, man. I'm out of words on that, and I'm so grateful for you and honorable people like you who have done everything you can to expose this insanity. And I just hope one day that justice is somehow done. I don't know how, I don't know when, if ever, but I'm gonna hope, and I'm gonna keep praying for you and your family and all of you whistleblowers and everything that y'all have unnecessarily gone through and continue to go through. I just hope somehow, some way, things get better for you, Steve. All right, brother. I don't know.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. Happy to have the time here.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else going on out there that you want to chime in on? What's your take on being that you were in the federal government? I really want to talk, and you don't, if you don't have a lot to say on this, that's fine. But I do need to, at some point with the audience, talk about this Palantir database stuff that I see story after story after story that's creeping me out. But the devil's advocate is the government knows everything about you anyway. This is just going to make it easier to look up for the, it's easier to sort and easier. Do you have any take on the Palantir stuff at this point, Steve?
Yeah, we actually covered it on the American Radicals
That's
podcast,
what I was
episode 219.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because as soon as I handed it off to you, I thought, I bet you've already talked about this over on the American Radicals podcast, and it's episode 219, y'all.
So pretty recently, I think Garrett O'Boyle and myself, my co-host, we kind of shared a mutual concern here, and it's correct. I mean, the government has this information, but this is going to make it more efficient. I don't want my government to be efficient when it comes to collecting data on me. I want them to efficiently carry out the limited purposes that I expect from them, like, from a national standpoint, like, I want you to efficiently build a giant wall on the southern border. But other than that, I like the gridlock as it occurs to me, because it means that they can't achieve very much.
Uh-huh.
And I think that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and this might be a Doge sort of mindset. Like, we're going to expedite this for information sharing. There's no sort of violations of rights here because the government already has this, and it's like moving change from one pocket to another in the same pair of pants. I understand that sentiment, but from my comparison is from a law enforcement context, the Joint Terrorism Task Force. So the Joint Terrorism Task Force, it is the road to hell is paved with good intentions. We're going to bring in subject matter experts from lots of different law enforcement agencies so that they can have this task to go after a terrorist, right? So but the problem with that is you can use it and abuse it to circumvent your own policies. So if I'm on a Joint Terrorism Task Force and I work for the FBI, I am not only beholden to the Constitution, I'm beholden to an even narrower guardrail, because the Constitution isn't enough. We want to make sure that we're not going to infringe on any rights. Spoiler alert, they do. But theoretically, they have the Attorney General Guidelines for Domestic Investigations, the AGG-DOM, and they have the Domestic Investigations Operations Guide, the DIOG, and those narrow it even more. But if I partner with somebody from the Department of Homeland Security, they're not even under the Attorney General. They don't have those guidelines. So I can say, hey, look, my rules and policies and procedures say that I can't do these certain things. But you know what? You can. So why don't you go ahead and do that? So that would be my concern for a Palantir, because it's going to cross over all these different agencies,
yes,
and it's going to allow them to circumvent their own rules.
And doesn't this feel like the Patriot Act 2.0? No?
Everything feels like the Patriot Act.
What'd you say?
Everything
does feel like, because it sucks. Yeah, and what I mean by that is that some people are just like, what's the big deal, And then 20 years from now, and yeah, 20 years from now, I feel like it's going to be second nature to say, oh my gosh, that Palantir. I bet this will end up in the Palantir database, and we'll be all pissed, and then nothing will come of it. But we'll look back to 2024, 2025, and we'll say, oh crap, I guess we should have pushed back harder on that. Like, when you have opposition coming from the Democrats and from MAGA, I feel like, okay, maybe this is something that should be concerning. And hold on. Should I read too much into this? It is from the New Republic, but I think my favorite member of the Trump administration, Stephen Miller. Here's the headline. Damning report exposes Stephen Miller's shady ties to Palantir. Apparently, he's been buying or owns a massive stake in Palantir. So that's interesting. I don't know, but I love Stephen Miller. So I don't know what to do with
like the Dick Cheney Halliburton.
I don't know what to do with that. Yeah. So I don't know, man. The IRS, obviously, Steve, let me just sum it up like this. Let me ask you one last question, and I promise to let you get on with your day. When we get to the end of the this is not a fair question, I'll warn you. When we get to the end of the Trump 2.0, which in the first month was the greatest month, it was such a euphoric time. All the executive orders, all the good stuff that we thought was happening, and all the good appointments, and everybody made it through the Senate, and oh my goodness. Does your gut tell you that at the end of this 4-year ride, that we're not even 1/8 of the way through, do you think that things will have gotten noticeably better for us? And I don't mean the economy necessarily. I mean the structure of government and the powers that it has. Do we have any hope that we will be closer? It will be a smaller government. I'm already answering it for you.
Well, we're spending more money.
I know. Kill me, man.
And we can't get the Republican conservatives to agree on cutting funding for NPR and PBS and USAID.
Yeah.
So I think that the answer is right there. But, I was on another Blaze program, and they asked me to name a song that would summarize the Donald Trump presidency. And I said, oops, I did it again, because sometimes it would look like a wholesome young lady in the Catholic school uniform, and other times it looked like she shaved her head and is juggling knives. So I got my Steve Baker part and can't complain.
I guess so. I think it's Grimace time now on the program. I love you, and I hope things get better for you. I'm sorry that things are just. Any update, man? You be sure to let me know, Steve. And I know that I'm going to have you on July 17th. Is that right? 17th.
Yep, I got you down July 17th. So
okay.
Looking forward to it. And have a great weekend.
Always love having you on. I hope you have a great Independence Day with the family. Celebrating freedom. All right, brother. Be good. We'll talk to you soon. And don't forget the American Radicals podcast, y'all. The information that Steve and Garrett come with is absolutely awesome. So check out the American Radicals podcast everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, Rumble, if you want to see their pretty faces. So there you go. All right. So we need to get I got to play a couple of clips from RFK's hearing yesterday, because, you want to talk about two extreme emotions watching that. But don't forget, we're doing, in addition to the video stream, down below is an audio stream that you're welcome to go to, and raise your hand if there's something specific that you want to talk about here. But let's see here. It's Jessica. Hang on, Jessica. All right, so Jessica's got her hand raised in the audio space. Don't forget to unmute your microphone and then fire away. Jessica, what's on your mind? Fire away. There's like a little delay here, unless she hung up. She may have hung up. Jessica, did you still there? You vanished here after I turned on your microphone there. All right, well, my bad. Okay, so let's do some RFK stuff from yesterday. Y'all want the good news? Well, actually, hold on a second. There's good news. There's the good clip, and then there's the bad clip. But if you think about it, they're actually both bad clips. And more demoralizing topics here on the Thursday deep dive. Hang on a second. Let me find this thing. That's what she said. Let's see. Is this the one? Yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is the good clip. And by that I mean it's nice to see. Where's my drink? It's nice to see someone in the government. And see, this was last summer too, if you'll recall. You had wonder how they're doing. I remember there were females. There was the female whistleblowers, and they were sitting right where Secretary Kennedy is sitting there. And they said the same damn thing. And just like Steve Friend and all of the good people that have blown the whistle on our government, nothing happens. Nothing comes from it. And it pisses me off. But here is something he mentioned yesterday that should be the top story right now, everywhere. But alas.
The major reason that the Biden administration lost track of all those children is because they were emphasizing speed over security.
Immigrant children, illegal immigrant children.
And there were political reasons for that. They wanted to get the kids out of U.S. custody, so they were handing them off to anybody. It didn't require background checks. They didn't require identification even. I've watched horror stories of the same person picking up child after child after child, using different names and different addresses. One of the addresses was a strip club.
Oh.
One of the addresses was a parking lot. One of the addresses was an empty lot that was filled with shipping containers. And this character was getting all these kids. One person got 42 kids to one address. What we're doing now is DNA testing on every sponsor. We're doing personal identification. We're doing background checks, and we're doing income verification.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you. My time is
Young
expired.
ladies,
Okay. So I'm sure we'll get to the bottom. We'll find all these kids, right? And it'll be happily ever after. This is how I opened last week's show on Operation Gladio with the question that wasn't, maybe it was rhetorical. Shit. Where as much as we love our country and as great as it is, in the broad scheme of things, in 250 years, I know this isn't popular to even ask the question, especially when Donald Trump is president of the United States. But this isn't a reflection on him. It's a reflection on just the federal bureaucracy for 250 years. But I think you can have a reasonable discussion in the overall large picture. Has our government done more harm than good? I think that is an absolutely fair question. And all of the patriotic and all of the great things that have happened, I am not trying to dilute those at all. I'm saying as a net, are we net positive or net negative? And you can roll your eyes and you can be Sam the Eagle from the Muppet Show. Boy, I am old AF. And just be like, America. But there's a lot in the past that go to last week's episode in the CIA and Operation Gladio and ask the nations around the world what they think of America's involvement in their countries. And what was this stat? She recommended a book, and I don't have it off my fingertips here, but I've started listening to that before she comes back. The Colonel comes back for part 2 on July 24th. But what was it? Just the CIA alone is connected to 6 million deaths. I don't know the breakdown on that. I'll leave it to the expert. But that was just an interesting stat at the very beginning of that book that you're like, holy crap. Holy crap. It's depressing to even have to consider that. And it's to take nothing away from the greatest generation or those that fought to end slavery. It's to take nothing away from all the great things that we've done as a nation. But boy, there are some really big black marks in history, in our history. And it hurts to even think about them. And you have to admit them, though. They are there. And we're still the greatest nation to ever exist on the face of the planet. Okay, I needed to let's see. Oh, that's interesting, Stacey. Yeah, net negative all the way around the last 4 years. Yeah, they're in the Biden years. Absolutely. I mean, and I can just I don't want to do this. I don't want to rip on my country that I absolutely love, but just sitting here, like you just mentioned, the 4 years of Biden. I mean, just think of Obama. Oh, jeez. I don't want people too depressed out there. Think of Obama. I was going to say, think of the empowering the Muslim Brotherhood. Think of Operation Fast and Furious, and those guns. Where those ended up? France. Turning his back on the Iranian people when they were ready to rise up in 2009. I mean, that's just a handful just in recent years. I could seriously, I could just do this and we could go back to the Trail of Tears. We could go back to, I don't want to do that. That's not today's deep dive, I hope. But take the Palantir thing and all of the, I'm just trying to catch up to y'all's. By the way, shout out to North Carolina, Virginia, Atlanta. You guys may be fighting aliens right now. I don't know. And the meteorite that just lit up your sky a couple of hours ago. Hope everybody's okay. Somebody clue me in if there's aliens on the march. Let me play this other video because we just got done talking about the behemoth and the data and all sorts of good stuff. I'm sorry. Where did it go? I had the tab open and everything. I was ready to go. The wearables comment that Kennedy, there we go. Talking about, and I saw a lot of people in the comments were talking about the wearables and they weren't sure what that was referring to. It's like a watch or something. It's like an Apple Watch or something. They can monitor your health and then it'll send the data to your phone. Well, wouldn't it be neat if it sent the data to like a centralized location, say like a place where they would collect and sort this data to make it so much more accessible and beneficial to you, helpful, right? Maybe like a company could handle that. Maybe like something like a Palantir, something like that, maybe. But yeah, this is the slippery slope argument that we had with Obamacare. Once you have the government providing for your health insurance, then they can come to you and be like, "Yep, gosh, it's just too much, man. It's too much." I was gonna get into CBDC, central bank digital currency, and monitoring your purchases and stopping you at the checkout aisle at Walmart. And sorry, you can't get those Twinkies this week, big guy. We've been monitoring you, and that wearable has been sending us data. And sorry, just hey, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? Wonderful. Okay, so here is Secretary Kennedy yesterday. This is the part of him that is repulsive. I'm sorry. No, I don't even. Just listen to this.
Secretary Kennedy, my first question is that there is a tremendous amount of research that shows that greater engagement with one's health leads to better outcomes.
Okay, engage with your health.
Years, American innovators have created and improved wearable devices.
Oh, I just realized.
Only are consumers.
Hang on a second. My apologies to the audio stream. This is probably the part of the program that you don't care for. But Kennedy's talking about the wearables. So give me a moment here. I'm sorry.
Engage with their health through monitoring data.
Okay.
They are able to share that data.
With providers.
American consumers, in line with the 21st Century Cures Act, should be able to access these innovative wellness tools. Secretary Kennedy, do you agree that consumers should continue to have access to these tools?
Okay, here we go. All right, so let's talk about access to these tools, monitor your health.
Absolutely. In fact, we're about to launch one of the biggest advertising campaigns in HHS history.
We're about to launch
to encourage Americans to use wearables.
Okay, so here your tax dollars are about to fund a PR campaign to encourage you to use wearables and monitor your health. You want to see what's going on with your heart rate and stuff. Check out. I just want to know how many steps I have. Is this a government funded plan? I know the PR campaign sounds, that's going to be funded by us. Are we seriously gonna? Come on, no, please don't. I can't. Obama phones were bad enough to fund those. We're gonna fund wearables too.
Way of people can take control over their own health.
Huh? Control of
They
their
can
own
take
health.
responsibility. They can see, as you know, what food is doing to their glucose
What
levels,
food is doing to their glucose? Okay.
their heart rates,
Heart
and a number
rates.
of other metrics as they eat it.
As they
And can
eat it.
begin to-
I mean, that sounds very interesting information that, boy, I sure would find helpful. Let me see what's causing.
Make good judgments about their diet.
Make good
about their
judgments about your
physical
diet,
activity,
physical activity.
about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again.
We think that wearables are key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. Okay.
And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
All right. His vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within the next 4 years. That's fine. And he didn't say anything, and maybe there's been a clarification today, and I just missed it. But no, that you don't think that. Nope. I don't even want it where I'm the only person with access. I'm the only entity that could access that information. Sure. And kids, if you're not old enough to remember, your cell phone data was given to the government by pretty much every cell phone company along about the last 20 years. And a guy named Edward Snowden is, he's not returning to this country because of some information that he uncovered. But I'm sure that your health information would never be passed along from Apple or Samsung or anybody else that's connected with a wearable, all in the name of keeping you healthy, because you want to be healthy, right? Okay, wait, hold on a second, Jonathan. Remember what Israel did with pagers? Now imagine wearables. Oh no. Let's see here. Yeah, right. See, the Gare Bear, because he was a guest. We talked about the central bank digital currency. Yeah, no way they could tie that to a social credit score. So if you're naughty, your CBDC won't let you buy groceries. We've never seen that. No. Oh my goodness. Okay, just scrolling through here. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I was just thinking about EMFs, and then you have this comment, but your comment is much better than my brain was just going thinking about. Forget it, ADD. But this is a much better thought, Jeffy. Apologist. Isn't RFK also super skeptical of EMFs and the harm it has on health? Yeah, that's a good question. I would love to ask him. Again, is he just saying he wants you to wear wearables, or does he want the government to be involved in mandating that? And I can't see him say he has not said that. He hasn't alluded to it as far as I know. But boy, that's a problem. And I don't care, man. This window, this lighting, you think this natural light would be good. I swear, I look ill. I feel fine. I promise. I'm not going to lurch or anything. It's a strange setup. This corner of the house. Okay, let's see. Hey, Nick Ryan, always sending me awesome music. This guy right here, Nick Ryan. I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't say, because I don't know. He might. It may not be Nick Ryan. If I know how he operates, this may not be Nick Ryan that I'm going to. It may be somebody else. I really don't know. Don't forget to unmute your microphone. Welcome to the Thursday Deep Dive. Is this Nick Ryan, or is this someone else?
This sure is Nick Ryan.
Okay, I had to, because you do such great impersonations. I wasn't sure if maybe Jesse Jackson was about to start, or Al Sharpton.
I wanted to be me today.
Okay, I appreciate it. This guy, Nick Ryan, made me the coolest personalized Hanson CD. I mean, he even made the label, and I bet you did the track order. Like, I bet you didn't just randomly just throw this stuff together. You and I think we look at music like mixtapes. I'm old. Playlist. You put this stuff in a specific order. It's not just throw it out there and randomly and there's your CD, right? When you made me this,
yeah, because that's how albums are put together. They're meant to be played from track one to whatever the ending track is in order.
See, Nick Ryan and I are of the same mind when it comes to music, and it's important. I mean, it's like a piece of, it's like a a tapestry when you put together a playlist. So thank you for my personalized Hanson CD that, I mean, it has my name on the CD case and everything. Anyway, I appreciate that a lot.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And you introduced me to another band. How do you pronounce it? Is it Haim?
It's Chaim, like
Chaim.
L'Chaim.
Okay.
They're three Jewish girls from the San Fernando Valley.
Oh, wow. Okay. HAIM, all capital letters. Look for that. So what's on your mind today, buddy?
There's really only one number or even metric that you have to look at to determine whether or not the United States of America federal government has been net positive and effect-wise or net negative, and that's national debt.
Yeah, well, okay. If that's our measurement, then we're screwed.
Well, think about how much money that the federal government is spending and to what effect, what we are getting out of it. Okay, if we had a net positive effect on our taxpaying citizens, there wouldn't be a debt. There would be a surplus right now, because that money wouldn't be being spent. It would be going directly back into the citizens indirectly, or they just wouldn't be charged taxes as high as they are.
I can't argue with you. Okay. Yeah. Nope. I'm with you 100%. Did you have a chance? I don't want to put you on the spot here. Did you have a chance to listen to the Operation Gladio conversation I had last week? Or maybe you are already aware of it. Can you speak to Operation Gladio at all, Nick? Because when you see how our tax dollars have been spent forever, it hurts so much, because look at what it funds is death and destruction everywhere, man. It sucks. It sucks to have to say that out loud.
Well, think about this. It would take, say that Elon Musk, the richest guy on earth, gave up his entire fortune just to the national debt.
Yeah.
Think about that. It would be spent in about 1,864 hours.
Hold on. How much is he worth?
He's worth, last I looked, it was $330 billion. So you would have to get 109 of Elon Musk's lifetimes to pay off the current national debt.
Yeah. You take that information, Nick, and combine it with what Steve Friend and other whistleblowers have been going through, and combine it with last week's episode on Operation Gladio. You're like, yep, not good. All the way around, not good. And see, that's what sucks, man. What sucks is if we weren't in debt, we haven't been spending all this money on terrible things. I could do this if game forever. But all I was gonna lead up to is just imagine, as great as this nation is, if we honored our Constitution, and if we had a budget, and if we just treated people right, like Steve Friend, who come forward when they point out something, and we stop it, just think of, it hurts. It hurts to think of where we could be as a nation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely. I mean, it's a shame, really, that we haven't gone. I mean, as far as we've come in just a short amount of time, it is really a shame to think about how much further we could be right now.
I know, man. I mean, you think of some of the ridiculous things that we're compelled to talk about on a daily basis. Like, we have to spend time talking about men invading women's sports. We are so far off the mark. We're so far off the horizon. It's insane. Let me ask you this before you go. Do you wear a wearable that counts your steps and your heartbeat and heart rate and all that stuff?
No, and I also do not have one of the. I don't want to say the name because it might set someone free.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have the.
I got it. The device.
Lady in my house.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious. because
no, I don't wear the watch, and I don't have the speakable units in my house either, because for the exact reason that your boy was talking about.
well, we got our phones that are spying on us, of course, so that's always fun.
Yep.
But a couple of people commented when I posted yesterday about the wearable comment from RFK. And like somebody said, I'm normally with you, Keith, but this isn't supposed to be for personal. But isn't this supposed to be for personal heart rate and step counting, just to bring awareness to movement? I hope so. I don't know, but I don't trust my government, so I don't know yet.
Right, that sounds great. I mean, yes, of course, ideally and theoretically, that's how it's supposed to work. But the reality is, we know that it's not the mark of the beast.
It's not the mark of the beast. Yeah, another comment. It would depend on what information is gathered, who has access, and what it's used for. And that's the thing. It's like, I want to stop it right here. And I've got this other story that I don't think is completely unrelated. Apple is embracing the world of brain-computer interfaces, unveiling a new technology that one day could revolutionize how humans interact with their devices. The company is taking early steps to enable people to control their iPhones with neural signals captured by a new generation of brain implants. It could make Apple devices more accessible to tens of thousands of people who can't use their hands fine because of severe spinal cord injuries or diseases such as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. Apple is looking forward to a day, still some years away, when implants developed by Elon Musk's Neuralink and its rivals receive approval from the FDA. It will be a brain-computer interface. They've already been safely placed, as the article mentions, in a handful of patients. So, yep.
And, well, I mean, the thing is, like, the argument that, well, it depends on what kind of information they're gathering. Well, that's like the argument of saying, well, I don't care if the NSA is looking into my house because I'm not doing anything wrong. It doesn't matter. And the government is not going to govern themselves out of that kind of information.
No. Hang on a second. Okay. If this were to ever become just a standard thing, hey, you want the brain implant? It's so much more convenient when you buy this phone. It's just an extra $10 a month if you get the brain chip. Like I said, it takes your cell phone experience to a whole nother level. You interested in that? I don't have to ask you.
No.
Yeah, what I fear is, I don't fear the technology, and don't let someone try to use this lazy argument that you're so old and you're not hip enough, and you're afraid of new things and technology. The problem I have with this isn't that the technology exists, is that it's always goes back to the net negative conversation question earlier. It's that once this exists and the government realizes, because it's just newsflash, we've had really bad people in charge. I don't know if you remember, it's been ancient history, and it just takes one crisis, never let a crisis go to waste, to compel you to have this, and then the next thing you know, really bad things are happening. They've already tried this stuff. Don't act like this has not happened before. With they tried so hard to get the vaccine passport for COVID, and it's
the exact same argument that the leftists make for communism. It just hasn't been tried right.
Yeah.
This time we're gonna do it right.
This time
it's gonna be okay.
Nick, I appreciate you chiming in, man. Thanks for all of your contributions. And, at some point, if you ever want to do an impersonation in one of these spaces, feel free, because you are quite talented at the impersonations. What's the latest one you've added to your repertoire?
Oh,
Put him on the spot here.
I don't know. I could do... I don't know. I kind of like doing Mad Maxine Waters.
Maxine Waters. Uh-oh. Are you ready to debut it here, or maybe some other time, or what do you think? You want to do Maxine here?
No, I think I can whip something up. This is a little tricky though, because I kind of have to yodel.
Oh, I'm sorry. How do you want me to set you up? Hey, look who's on the line. It's Maxine Waters, the congresswoman from California. How you been doing out there with all the ICE raids and stuff? You haven't seemed too happy about that.
Oh yes, no, we love it. We love it over here. It's the perfect opportunity for me to announce my candidacy for supreme ruler of the galaxy starting in 2030. And I'll be running as a liberal. And you know what this liberal would be about? This liberal would be all about genocide. Would be about basically taking over and the government deciding who lives and who dies.
That's awesome, dude. Nice job, bro. You're awesome. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Nick Ryan, ladies and gentlemen. Follow him at Nick_R_Ryan. Nick R. Ryan. All right, brother. Have a good day, man. We'll see you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
I mean, I put him on the spot, and he came through. That's good stuff. Where's my mouse? Here we go. Sorry. All right, what do we got here? Let's see here. Just see if there's any questions out there for me. All right. Oh, he mentioned the NSA saying, "Look," and people, because this is Lindsey Graham did this verbatim when he said, "I don't care if the government's spying on me if you're not doing anything wrong." I mean, just what Nick was saying earlier. And what could they get into your house without your knowledge? Again, it's just, I mean, we're just hypothetical, right? No, wait. Oh, crap. No, wait. Hold on. What's this? China unveils tiny, terrifying, mosquito-sized drone to be used for spying and special missions as they sneak into homes. Holy crap. What is happening? What? I gotta post this later for y'all. This is absolutely terrifying. And I remember Art Bell. You want to talk about somebody who was ahead of their time. I mean, sure, Alex Jones has gotten a lot of stuff right. But Art Bell, boy, I know I've talked about my first real job in radio was playing the commercials during Art Bell off of WGST in Atlanta, playing the commercials overnight. Everything's automated now. So if some kid wanted to have a job fresh out of college, or even in high school, I mean, it's automated now. Sorry, kids. I mean, everything gets automated at some point. So China's unveiled these, and you know, I should have had a picture ready because it's let me just smoothly find it while we're talking here. It's the size of a mosquito. And I remember in the 90s. Art Bell talking about this. But I'm not gonna be able to find the link here on the fly because that's what a prepared host would do for you. But just know it looks like a damn mosquito. And let's see. I mean, there's video, state media. They're holding the little miniature drones. Erie device has, and this, by the way, this article is in the Sun. So let's see. The Erie device has 2 yellow leaf-like wings, a black thin body, and 3 wiry legs. Experts have warned the size of the drone means it will be much quieter than traditional models. It can mean greater access to restricted areas such as secure government facilities. You know, like if, let's just say this is a Chinese government thing. Let's just say that they own land, like farmland, maybe near a U.S. Air Force base. Sam Bresnick, research fellow at Georgetown Center for Security and Emerging Technology, told the UK Telegraph, if China is able to produce mosquito-sized drones, it would likely be interested in using them for various intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance tasks, especially in places that larger drones struggle to access, such as indoor areas. These drones could be used to track individuals or listen in on conversations. Yeah. They're called micro drones. You remember when you were kids? When I was a kid, we had micro machines, but these are micro drones, and you don't have to talk fast to talk about them. Let's see. I mean, they could listen to this. Tracy Follows, an ex-Google futurist, warned that they could even carry deadly pathogens and be used to spy. Let's see. The big question is, what's the payload on these drones, and what are you actually attaching to the drone? Y'all have, a couple of you have tried to make me aware of the concert in Paris, was it? I don't know all the details there. So if somebody wants to get on the audio stream and chime in and kind of clue me in, but when people were injected there, I seriously, I don't know a lot. I know that it was like this mess. It's something like the arena or whatever, or the street outside was just third world. I mean, you've invited the third world in, Western world, Western hemisphere. Congratulations. You are now the third world. But were people getting, I don't know. Sorry. Again, there's only so much bandwidth. Hang on a second. Hold on. It's starting to ring a bell. The Gare Bear. Micro and nanobots have been talked about in healthcare for a bit, but we knew it would be weaponized. And there are already patents for bio data being incorporated into payment systems and monitoring, I guess. Oh, gosh, there's a Google patent number and everything. Awesome. The Gare Bear coming with the facts. Oh, dear Lord. Awesome. But look, who needs the little tiny drone? Oh, my gosh. You got the wearable transmitting your health data. You got the tiny drone inside your house. I am sorry. I didn't sit down to just have a terrifying conversation. I haven't even gotten to the damn stories where, like, I need help. I haven't figured out how to apply my principles to some of these stories that we haven't gotten to yet that I'm still... Oh, my gosh. Here's a story I need to know more about. Do you guys remember? Oh, my gosh. We've got to talk about the land stuff that Mike Lee is pushing for affordable housing. I adore Mike Lee. I love this guy. I don't understand. And this is where my brain's going all over the place. Do you remember on my day job, Pat Gray Unleashed, over on the Blaze? It was within the last few months, because it was the I think it was the HUD secretary and the Secretary of Interior. So it was Burgum and Mr. HUD. And they got together and they talked about this plan about selling off federal lands so we could have some affordable housing. I mean, hang on. Nobody hates the federal government owning as much land as this guy. But let's earmark that page. We'll come back to it. How about, and this isn't my idea, I've seen so many of you very smart people throw this out there. How about we do this? Let's press pause on the plan to pave over the Grand Canyon. No, I'm just kidding. I doubt that's part of the plan. But can we not evict the 50 million illegal aliens or whatever the hell it is now and see what happens to housing? Because we might not need to put apartments inside Yosemite. It's just, I mean, you might, the Section 8 housing that they have planned for Glacier National Park, we could maybe put those plans on hold. Let's see what happens to the price of housing when we get the illegals out. Okay? Before we start putting triple wides in the middle of a national park. I don't know. Again, that's the extreme example. But I don't know where these land... Do we have a map? Like, seriously, is there a map that says, yeah, we're just taking this little speck right here that's landlocked in the middle of a town? Like, I need to see, like, if they're federal buildings that we don't need because Doe shrunk the government. Oh, no, wait. No, I'm sorry. We can't do those cuts. Like, if these are obsolete federal buildings, now that makes more sense than carving up a piece of Yellowstone and putting a trailer park. No, again, I'm sure our government wouldn't do that. Don't forget there is an audio space if you'd like to jump down there and listen to that or chime in. If you have any kind of time, if you can update, if you can give me some details on this stuff that I'm only just a little bit aware of, like the Paris Music Festival, or what's the plan on this? And shame on me on the land thing. I keep seeing all of these comments popping up, and yet, sorry. Let's see. Yeah, so we don't know what was in the syringes in Paris at that music festival. I'm sure it was good stuff. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Nope, did that one already. Oh crap! I swear, every damn story, it's like this bad dystopian future that's damn near the present. Okay, hang on. See, and that's the other thing. I'll come back to that. No, let's do this now. I'm impossible. Sorry. Have you heard the name? Can I do a deep dive on something fun? Hang on, just I'm gonna set this right here. I'll get right back to it. But let me. Sorry, audio spacers. I might be playing audio here. No, I don't think so. Hang on, let me see. No. It's but it's some visual stuff. Hang on. So let me just take a pause here for a second. This is gonna be like the animal video equivalent to the Friday live stream, which we do every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Both Rebecca and Brad will be here. This popped up in my feed just before I went on here today, and I thought we got to talk about this. This is something I normally would play on the Friday live stream, but if you're in this bus, I'm sure there's been plenty of harrowing points. I don't know anything about this, and I'm sure everyone will say it's AI, but I don't think so. But anyway, there's a waterfall, and you gotta, like, if you're gonna take pictures, you really gotta get it from every angle. So the bus driver obliges, and he takes them under this waterfall here on this narrow mountain path, as you can see, up against. I don't, especially with that thing looks like it's leaning when it came around the corner. I'm not into that. No, thank you. I will say that I've driven up in the mountains in some curious tight corners, but that looked a little bit above anything that I would even consider. Oh, this is kind of cool. Matt Van Swall up in Eastern North Carolina. This is a couple weeks ago. I just think it's awesome. I love stuff like this. Multiple old vehicles have been found at the bottom of Lake Lure in Western North Carolina after crews began drawing down the water to restore the lake after Hurricane Helene. I think the consensus was this is roughly the year 1919 rusted out carriage of a vehicle. I forgot what people were saying. A Model T, Model A, horsepower. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. I love that kind of stuff, man. Have I ever told y'all, Nana, who's about to turn 100 years old, where she lived right up against Kennesaw Mountain National Park, where I spent many a day as a child there in Marietta, Georgia. The neighbor found in his yard next door to Nana a belt buckle that a soldier during the Civil War had worn, and it was an S. So if you look up a belt buckle for Confederate States, CS, and a belt buckle for the North, the United States, US, it's the same font. I don't know how you. So it's an S. It's a perfectly broken belt buckle right down the middle, and then you have the other half, and so you have the S, and so you don't know if it was a northern or southern soldier there, but definitely right there in the yard. And my gosh, the bullets and the mini balls and everything that they have found throughout that whole neighborhood right there near the battlefield, Marietta, Georgia. I love history. And I think, honestly, what sent me down that road was growing up that close to where a battle in the Civil War was fought. I think that's probably maybe a therapist can pull that out. But I think that's what sent me down the road of loving history. It was right there. And we would go to Kennesaw Mountain National Park all the time. Let me see here if there's anything else that I wanted to make sure that I had for you on the screen. Closing all these Kennedy tabs. Let's see here. Okay, cool. So this is why are there so many terrifying stories? Why is he doing that, y'all? Don't forget, if there's a story you want to talk about, you just head over to the live stream and or the audio space just below this, and we will chat about it. I'm just seeing if I have anything that isn't like end of the world, you know. It's just every damn story. I'll get to this in a second, maybe. I don't know. Okay. All right. So what's that guy's name? It's been so long. It's been so long since Vance Belter. Oh, what a terrible story out of Minnesota. And I know that we mentioned this on Friday, that and I mentioned it earlier, how the home was broken into. It was a crime scene at Melissa Horton's house, and it was boarded up, and somebody broke in and apparently stole nothing. What's y'all's gut telling you about that? Like, is there anything? Could be a follow up on something? It's very. And then, of course, the letter to the FBI that Vance wrote, saying that he was asked to kill Senator Amy Klobuchar on behalf of Governor Tim Walz because Tim Walz wanted that seat. Huh. Now, he's crazy. We know that, right? So the chances of that being true are pretty slim. But boy, have we witnessed some crazy stuff in recent years in this country. Who knows anymore? Who freaking knows? I would love, if somebody believes that, I would love you to talk to me and try to convince me. Yeah. So that was, hold on a second. De Gerber, hold on. When you say cleaner, nothing is missing that the family knew of. Exactly. They say nothing's missing. Anybody seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul? You can clean up these. Never mind. It's a terrible, tragic story. I absolutely hate it. And I don't know. Oh, wait. Hold on. American Introvert. See, I needed this little fun fact. The land doesn't include parks like Yellowstone. Okay. I mean, I got it. But can somebody clue me in, please, on where the land is? I would really love to know where the land that we want to sell for housing. Oh my gosh, Jar Holly, thank you. This is New Jersey. I know what you're talking about, right? This is New Jersey. What about the 175-year-old family-owned farm that a city in New Jersey wants to take away as part of their land to build affordable housing? Yes, that pissed me off too because it's got animals on it and stuff, and I don't care what's on it. It's their land, but it's not an eyesore or anything like that. Yeah. So New Jersey, yeah, I need to update. I haven't seen that story. A couple weeks ago, I saw that, and we never got to it on whatever show I was doing at the time. But yeah, I just not good. Hold on, here we go. That's gonna be the title that AI is gonna pull out of this conversation. A lot of times, that's what happens. Is AI Hero Wes will let the AI bot just kind of absorb the. That's why if you see the Friday live stream, go and look at that. Go to youtube.com/@the Mike Show, and look at the thumbnail that AI created, just scanning the conversation. Because I mean, the conversations that Brad, Rebecca, and I have are insane. And so you've got Ozzy Osbourne holding a baby, right? Did y'all see that? And he's holding a baby, and then there's I'm homeless in Miami. That's part of it. Let me see here. Let me refresh my memory. Oh gosh, I can't remember all the great imagery that was on that thumbnail. Let's see here. Hang on. I know this is very important. Obviously, it's worth totally stopping the show for, but I can't see what that is. Anyway, so AI will go through and just, Are we leaning on AI just a little too much for stuff? I'm not saying that's not a wise use of it there by Wes. I mean, it saves him having to like create it himself. But I'm trying to get this damn thing where I could show you. But anyway, come on now. Let's see. What is this here? Well, I don't even know what that means. The Colon Hotel. I can't read it there. It says the Colon Hotel. It's Ozzy with a baby. Oh, there's the humanoid robot, and it's reading a book about parenting tips, which I think we were giving some of those to Rebecca, who will be a mom in November, 5 months now. And then you see me down here. I'm homeless, wearing an At the Mic shirt, and I'm in Miami because I made the comment that if I were homeless, I'd save up for a bus ticket to get to Miami, where I could sleep outside, and not freeze to death. And I know it's warm, but it's not like death heat of Arizona. And I'm just looking at the background here. I mean, just it's amazing. Hey, congratulations though to the AI that it looks like it got Ozzy's hands right there. See that? It's not 6 fingers. Interesting. Sorry. I'm easily distracted. Obviously, I don't even know what the hell I was talking about to get to that point. So there. Let me see here. I can't get this thing to open back up. Don't forget, we got the audio space. Anything you want to talk about, go down there, raise your hand. I'm happy to discuss anything with you. But I have to bring this up. This is what I was putting off because somebody talk sense into me out of this. Don't let me be the crazy one on this, please. Seriously. Did you see the 4 new U.S. Army lieutenant colonels and their Silicon Valley executives that were sworn in? No, they did not. They did not enlist, and they did not go through the training or what have you. But Shyam Sankar, he's the CTO of Palantir. Wait, that sounds familiar. Andrew Bosworth, CTO of Meta. OpenAI CPO Kevin Weil, and Bob McGrew, who's the former chief research officer of OpenAI. There's a picture of them getting sworn in Army uniforms. And so they are going to be, I think it did it say 20 weeks a year, something like that. And they would have access. There's no boot camp or anything, no fitness requirements or anything like that. But OpenAI apparently landed a $200 million military contract around this time. And Meta is already doing work. So anyway, whenever you see the marriage of government and big business that has a lot of data, for example, but the counter argument could be, hey, times are changing, and we need to make sure we stay ahead of the curve with this AI stuff, and our military needs to be integrated with it because China's not stopping. So I can see both sides of that, but it's just a little freaky when you see the military so blatantly in bed. So Keith, you'd rather it be on the DL? You'd rather them do it behind the curtain? Mm-hmm. Exactly what I'm saying. So there we go. Let me look here. What else we got? The rest of this stuff, it's kind of more stuff that I'd rather just save for tomorrow for the Friday live stream with Brad and Rebecca. I kind of want to pick their brain on some of this stuff. So I think I'm going to hold off on that. But let me catch up on your comments here. Oh, wait a minute. Who was this? A fully monitored and watched society is a polite society. Who said that? Who was that? Salesforce? What is that? Okay. I can't remember who that was. DeGare Bear. Mention that to me. Let me look here. Hang on. Okay, hang on a second. American Introvert makes a point on the land grab or the fire sale of federal lands, which again, in theory, I'm for less government-owned land. If you ever see a U.S. map of U.S. owned land federal map, Have you ever seen that? It's really kind of depressing. And then it makes you see this story and go, oh, okay, well that would make sense. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. This is jaw dropping. It's like at some point, yes, the West is beautiful, and yes, we want to be able to enjoy it. But it's almost like in the progress of the nation, they got to the Western third and went, holy crap, wait, we're doing this wrong. We need to be buying more land. We need to keep this land first. Holy crap, y'all. Surface and subsurface federal ownership of all federal lands. Federal public land, surface and subsurface. Somebody's going to have to, I'm not smart enough for that. I wish I could see the national parks in there. But there you go. Utah, how's it going? My goodness, what? So states, hold on, it says states. Why? That wouldn't even be right? Because I got to find a better map. I don't, hang on. Let me. Yeah, this is more what, I'm sorry. I'm too dense to follow that last map. This is more simple for me to understand. Hang on. There you go. Let's check that one out. Let me get this off of here. Okay. So as you can see, Nevada and Utah are basically owned by the federal government. But you see, I mean, yeah, there's, man, I would have expected more purple in Maine, especially Acadia doesn't stand out. There you go. So I don't know that we're building, apartment complexes. And if it's in, and that's the other thing, where are they buying or where are they selling this federal land? You would think it would be in a mostly rural place. If the population isn't there to support it, I don't know, man. I need to educate myself on that. But on its surface, it's a little concerning. That's interesting, that whole outline of California there. Huh. Yeah, I need to spend more time understanding that topic for sure. But I would love to. I see. What would be cool is if you could. Well, I don't want to get into hypotheticals, but you know what? I bet there's some good views out there. How much is the land? Is it going to be market value? Like, how are they? And are they using this money? Is it to pay down the debt? Because that's a lot of land that we're going to have to. Deal with there. And who's the real estate agent? And what's the commission? Like, I mean, I need to know these answers. I'm sorry. All right. So anybody want to chat about anything? I don't see anybody's hand raised over there. I think we've covered enough for today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Tomorrow we'll do the Friday live stream with Brad and Rebecca. And then we're off for the 3rd and 4th. Don't forget. And then on the other side of that, there is a Barfly episode on July 10th with Brad and Kelly. July 17th, it's going to be like a whistleblower type show. I know Steve is going to be a part of that. We just mentioned Steve Friend. And let's see, the 24th is Operation Gladio Part 2. Got to talk to the Colonel on that one. Let me just see if my July 31st guest has come through yet. No, I'm looking for that confirmation. Nothing yet. So I've almost got July planned out. But, something will happen and, somebody will fall through, I'm sure. But anyway, thank y'all so much for spending time with me. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful that you hang out with me every Thursday and Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. Please like, subscribe over on YouTube, Rumble. All the links are there at themikeshow.com. And please rate, review, share, all the stuff. All the things. Please be safe. And I'm really sorry if this was a downer today. I really am. I should pay better attention when I put the stories in the stack. It's just one bad thing after another, wasn't it? But there was a follow-up story that has a conclusion that I want to talk with Brad about, because when we first talked about this, He was a part of the conversation, and so I'm holding on to that. Oh, I forgot to ask Steve Friend. I wanted to talk about free speech, absolutism, some other time. How about July 17th with him? And let's see. Yeah, the rest of the stuff, more fun with Rebecca and Brad in tow. I look forward to hanging out with them and with you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. As always, thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.